I'm the Guardian Dark Angel, and I approve this message. So guys, I am doing another episode today of Views on Views. Now, yesterday was a video about neo-feminism. Today I'm going to be doing a video on people who do not understand the difference between fact and fantasy. The reason for this video, I can definitely attribute my findings of ignorance to several people on YouTube, and if you do any research on the internet, period. And today's lucky guest, and I do say guest, not as a they are showing up in this video, but the people who have basically inspired this video are the drunken peasants, one of which is the amazing atheist. Now, before I start this video, I want everyone to understand, I am not an atheist. I'm also not a Christian. I will explain my beliefs towards the end of the video so people understand what it is I follow. But what it is I follow, I do of my own accord. And nobody has forced me to do it. Nobody has lured me into doing it. Nobody has brainwashed me into doing it. I've done thorough research on brainwashing, and it is not something easily accomplished. Even subliminal messaging is not technically brainwashing. And the reason I can say this is this. They used to do subliminal messages in commercials way back when. And see, the whole idea behind this was to make it so that people thought of something, put an idea in their head. Now, because that idea is there, doesn't mean that their mind will change about something. It just means that the thought is there. You know, it's there to ponder, to think about. And one of the biggest subliminal messaging campaigns was fast food restaurants. And it would be a picture that moved so fast, your eyes catch it, but only your subconscious really understands what it is, because only your subconscious can process how fast that picture was moving. You didn't realize it was there. Your conscious did not realize it was there, but your subconscious does. And it's like, wait a minute. Food. I'm hungry. How about burgers? What about McDonald's? Now, that's a kinda how the idea of how subliminal messaging works. And again, it is not brainwashing. It is a means to put ideas in your head to make you think about things. If I'm like, oh, now I really want Taco Bell, and suppose subliminal messaging was still used today consistently the way it used to be, which it is now outlawed entirely, because yeah, it's just outlawed. You're not supposed to be able to do it without getting into deep trouble. Let's say it was in use today. I was watching one of my favorite shows. Let's go with Castle. Say I was watching Castle. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking to myself, God, I really want tacos. I think I want Taco Bell. It is then my choice whether I decide to A, go to Taco Bell and get tacos, or B, stay home and make my own tacos. Or maybe not even eat tacos at all. Maybe eat what's available to me. See, one of the videos that the Drunken Peasants was watching is basically about a guy, and I will not name him, who's an idiot. No, I am going to name him for the sake of argument, because this guy is... the level of stupid that he is does not compare to many people. And it is the Vigilant Christian. Now, I am not attacking Christianity. My entire family is Catholic, except for my mom, my little brother, and my little sister. They're Baptist, but that's because we live in Texas and we're no longer living in Louisiana. And for those of you that don't know, in Louisiana, the bulk of everyone there is Catholic. Yeah, Catholic. Now, beside the point, I'm not going to be doing specifics on religion, or trying not to, because I don't want Christians to think I'm attacking them. I don't want atheists to think I'm attacking them. And I'm not attacking atheists. I'm not attacking Christians. I'm not technically attacking any religion. Why? Because to attack means to verbally assault. And I will not be verbally assaulting people other than calling them stupid. Calling somebody stupid in this day and age doesn't even qualify as an insult anymore. I mean, not really. It's just a, oh, well, you're stupid. Now, if you say it like that, tone of voice or tone completely decides whether somebody or whether something is taken as rude, offensive, etc. So if I say, yeah, you're an idiot, that's basically me saying this person is just in the head. Now, let's start with what I wanted to talk about. What is the difference between fact and fantasy? Or rather, fact, fantasy, fiction. The category spanned for that. It's actually the 3 Fs. Yeah, fiction, fantasy, and fact. Fact is something that can be proven, something that is obvious with hardcore concrete evidence, based on current science. Yes, science. No, I am not a Scientologist. Don't go there. This tablet has a black screen. The back of this tablet is black, kind of whitish and blue with the lighting in this, but color is perceived by light refracting off of things, or bouncing off of things, and normally the light source, and yeah, it's sciencey stuff that I don't remember off the top of my head. It's in here. I just can't put it into words. Anyways, fact is something that can be absolutely proven. Religion cannot in any way, shape, or form be absolutely proven, which is why atheists are atheists most of the time. Other reasons that most atheists are atheists is because they've had religion shoved down their throats for so long. Maybe it's not even the fact that they don't believe. Maybe it's the fact that they are basically spiteful towards people who shoved religion down their throat their entire lives. I had religion pretty much shoved down my throat my entire life. Am I spiteful? Not really. Just, it's one of those things. Now, fiction is things that are fake. Not true. Absolutely false. Fantasy is an interesting line, because fantasy encompasses a lot of things. Part of this video is going to be talking about religion, part of it's going to be talking about neo-feminism, and part of it's going to be talking about ignorant people in general who cannot understand the difference between these 3 things. Or not these 3, but the subjects of the video for the most part. Take neo-feminists, for example, and yes, I'm using them as my first example, because they are the easiest to use as an example. And yes, I'm moving around a lot, and we are totally unscripted. Imagine that. No subliminal messaging here. Want a black clock? Anyways, the idea is that neo-feminists do not understand the difference between fact, fantasy, and fiction. Fiction are things that are not fake. Or, that are not fake. Fiction. Oh, I cannot talk. Fiction is stuff that is fake. Fake is not true. Take this Powerade bottle, for instance. Yes, this Powerade bottle is my example. I am holding this bottle. See? It is in my hand, sitting in my hand. I am holding it. Now, a lot of neo-feminists don't understand certain things. Like, neo-feminists basically, and I'll get to why I use this as an example in a moment, believe that men are a subspecies of human. Would they ever openly admit this and to the masses? No, because they want people to think that they are fighting for typical feminism. And I call it typical feminism because it is feminism that people can actually accept, not this feminazi shenaniganisms. Now, the reason I said that it is a fact that I was holding this bottle is out of the fact that it is a fact that I was holding this bottle, or am holding this bottle while you're watching this video because it existed. Now, neo-feminists and or feminazis, like I said in previous videos, I will be naming neo-feminists as feminazis because that is what they are. They are feminist Nazis. They believe it is fact that all men are rapists, that all men objectify women, that everything in the world is about them, and that every woman who disbelieves their theories are stupid and have been, taught wrong, misled, and they need to be re-educated. We're going to talk facts. Fact is, I was holding that bottle. Fact is, individuality in this world exists. It can be proven. If you take 50 people in a room with no allergies to anything, and you put strawberry cake, chocolate cake, and vanilla cake, and you tell all 50 of these people, and just tell them there's cake. If you want a piece, go to the table and wait. You will see for fact a difference in who goes to what. And every 50 people will have a different statistic every single time, because statistics are facts. Now, generally, they are loosely based facts. And I say loosely based because statistics change depending on where you live, what your culture is. Sometimes, yes, gender depicts statistics too, but here's the catch. Maybe 3 people went to the chocolate cake. Maybe most of the women went to the strawberry cake instead of the chocolate. The stereotype is that women love chocolate. I know lots of women who don't. And you would think, oh, well, the men will typically go for the vanilla or the chocolate cake. Well, maybe most of the men went to strawberry cake. Statistics change based on individuality, based on what individual traits that person has. And neo-feminists believe that all men are rapists. And the things that they believe are assault and rape are borderline rude at best. If that. Like interrupting somebody in a sentence. I witnessed somebody, and I don't remember whether it was on a video of a feminist demonstration or a neo-feminist demonstration and or something to that pretext, but she said, yeah, and you interrupted me in a sentence, and that is rape. And I'm just like, are we seriously going there? Is that really what you think? If I would have been there, I would have been like, look, you're stupid, end of story. Stop bugging these guys. These guys are... Because she went up to people who were preaching. Now, normally, do I involve myself with people who preach? No, I don't. Because I am so tired of getting religion shoved down my throat. If I believe something, I believe it. It is my choice to believe it. Now, here's fantasy. And this is something that Red Pill Philosophy and The Amazing Atheist both touched on. I do not know if Mr. Epstein has touched on it, but these two individuals that I mentioned, they have both explained stuff like this based on cases of feminists claiming rape and or otherwise. Rape is a real thing no matter what gender you are. Men can be raped, women can be raped, it does not matter. Age, gender, race does not matter. Rape in this world exists. I firmly believe it is wrong because I have on an occasion had to stop a situation that was getting bad. That person knew their place from then on. Let me put it to you that way. Not a story that I would like to dabble in, because it brings up bad memories. Now, there is a such thing as different likes in sexual orientation. No, not sexual orientation. There's a phrase there. People have different likes towards sex. Some people like having their hair pulled. Some people like getting bitten. Some people like spanking. Some people like, DP, both DPs. Just people have different likes and dislikes. And one of the biggest fantasies. Yes, fantasies are not real, but fantasies are something that somebody imagines for some kind of pleasure of some kind. If I fantasize having a chocolate cake, it is going to stimulate my pleasure senses. Why? Because it would taste amazing. I would love chocolate cake right now. But do I have any? No. The house is empty for cake. Depressing, I know. But, still to my point. Rape fantasies exist. Red Pill Philosophy made a very, very valid point with one of the statements that he said during one of the videos he did, and I will not link it because I do not remember which video it is. However, I am not relying solely on views that he has said. I am not relying solely on views that the Amazing Atheist or Mr. Epstein or anybody on YouTube has said. These views are my own. I am using these individuals because I know for a fact that they have stated things that basically are true. True. Can be proven. 50 Shades of Grey is the most powerful weapon men have against neo-feminists as of today. Not this very day, but in this day and age currently. And the reason is because the main character is depicted as an individual who is overtly assertive. Very, very assertive. To a point that he is basically rape-esque. Now, a lot of women are like, no, that's not what it is. Yes! The concept of rape is non-consensual sex. Just because you start to like it doesn't mean you liked it to begin with. Which is why rape play or rape fantasy does not click in my head. And it's because, if you actually think about it, rape is non-consensual sex. You can pretend like you're not consensual, which is why safe words in the sex world exist. But it's still consensual. So it's not even technically considered rape, even if you're being forceful. In that case, just call it forceful sex play. The idea of sex or rape play, I do not understand. If a girl fights back, maybe she's just being playful. Especially if she's obviously consensual about it. Because otherwise, she would say, and I quote, no. She would make a stern face or start crying or something and say no. If you are dating a girl and she starts bawling her eyes out when you're being forceful with her, stop. The answer is no. Also, if you dabble in this type of play at all, make a safe word. They exist for a reason. Safe words exist because people don't know when to stop sometimes. It's just like, this is my safe word. I will not normally say it during sex at all. So if you say this word, it is a, whoa, stop, we're done. Or, whoa, stop, we need to talk, or something like that. Anyways, rape fantasies are a thing. 50 Shades of Grey basically disproves neo-feminists in every single aspect that they can attack anyone in. That is also one of the most widely sold books translated over, in multiple different languages. And I say multiple is a lot of different languages. 500,000 books plus. That number, I'm sure, is way beyond the millions right now. Of how many women have read it, or it has been sold to, or how many times it's been sold. If we don't count the amount of the people who have pirated it or read it in the library and or other things. Now, one of the points that I saw in one of the videos made is, oh, well, it's a fantasy. Well, okay. The Amazing Atheist and Red Pill Philosophy both made different points about this, but I'm going to clarify because I'm not sure. I know where they were both coming from, but the perspective view of what they were saying was different. The red pill philosophy basically said if it is a fantasy, it is something you want to happen. You are fantasizing about it. That view is not technically wrong. Not technically wrong, but we're going to get to that in a second. The Amazing Atheist said, it is a fantasy because you are dreaming about it. It is stimulating your pleasure senses, something that you are imagining. Not necessarily because you want it to happen, but because it is arousing in some way, shape, or form. Like, basically the idea about chocolate cake earlier. No, chocolate cake does not arouse me sexually. Chocolate cake arouses my stomach. My stomach's like, give me chocolate cake. Yeah, give me chocolate cake. I want it now. It's kind of how that works. The pleasure senses in your brain do not operate solely off of sex. They do not. They operate off of anything that gives your that stimulates your brain in a good way that makes you feel good. Eating chocolate cake makes me feel amazing because chocolate cake is just like ha ha ha. Playing video games. Some games are amazing, and I like playing them so much that, yes, they stimulate my pleasure senses. Again, not in a sexual way. There is a difference. And a lot of neo-feminists say that stuff like arousal and pleasure are solely based off of sex for men, which is also false, because I have just explained that entire point. Now, off of the neo-feminists, because they annoy me, and they are stupid. And I might get back to them because I'm sure there are points that I missed, skipping around because, again, not scripted. Church people of any religion, period. I do not believe that Christians are necessarily stupid. I do, however, believe that they delude themselves into believing things that are not true. Now, having said that, that is not aimed towards their belief in their God, the heavens, the angels, the demons, the devil, anything. But let me throw a point out there. In the Bible, it says, and I'm not debating religion, I'm not trying to disprove Christianity, I'm making a statement. A question statement, but it's still a statement, so I do not want your responses about it. It says that those that do not find themselves in Christ will find themselves at the gates of hell, or we will be dropped into the fires of hell and or something. The translation is different in every case, and that's just how it is. But if you take monks, actual monks, not Hindu monks, not Buddhist monks, just the general consensus of monks that dedicate their lives to self-discipline, celibacy, and basically they are individuals who keep themselves mentally clean, physically clean, arguably some of the most pure individuals on earth. Again, arguably. But they look down on killing, like bugs, flies, mosquitoes, spiders, scorpions, snakes. They prefer not to kill things. And if they have to and or do, I believe that they say a prayer for it and or something, or pray for its soul, apologize for having to do so, it's stuff like that. Which is actually an old belief in lots of different parts of the world. You used to pray for animals that you killed, and it's not the fact that you are praying to a one true God or multiple gods and or any type of God. You're praying for its soul. Now, I want to address a situation that happened that I think it was Yahoo News or from CNN or something. That happened, I want to say, within the past couple of months. It was the past couple of months. A school teacher had a little girl or little boy, I don't remember, I think it was a little girl, suspended for saying bless you. in class. As the story goes, some kid sneezed and she said, "Bless you." The teacher stands up, stops, and says, "Who said that?" "No, I'm not going to have any of this God crap in my class. Who said that?" Eventually, most of the class having supported her, she called the assistant principal, and the assistant principal suspended her for disrupting class, which was obviously the teacher's fault. Now, let me give you guys a brief history lesson. The term "bless you" was not invented by Christians. It was also not invented by atheists. The concept of the phrase "bless you" was basically saying that you were blessing someone because, or you were trying to bless someone physically, because whenever they sneezed, it was believed that their soul would escape their body. And if nobody said "bless you," it would escape from their body entirely and never return. There is technically no actual God involved in that. That was a respect thing for people back then. Because, yes, even in the early days of the Renaissance and other places, which more or less is where that originated, Christ was still a thing that people believed. But it wasn't a one true God, believe this or die. Yes, the church had a lot of power back then. A lot of power. And opposing them was basically opposing the entirety of the nation that you were living in. Now, "bless you" was not invented by Christians, or maybe it was, but "bless you" is a courtesy, basically because of that history. You are saying "bless you" as a courtesy based on what it was derived from. It is or if it was derived by Christians, that is no longer the absolute use. Because I have been in the middle of a church and sneezed. Not one person said "bless you." And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I know at least half of you are ignorant towards where that phrase came from, and or more. But not one person? Really? I was astounded. So the teacher who got that girl suspended because it was a God thing. You need to check your freaking privileges. You need to check them hard. You need to look in the mirror and be like, I need to check my privileges. Because you do. I don't know if it was a woman teacher, a guy teacher. They should have their job taken away for being stupid. If you're going to make a bold statement like that and get somebody suspended over it, you better know your frickin' facts. Now, there's obviously teachers are trained in certain academic stuff, and they have their forte, the thing that they're good at, the thing that they teach, but ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not an excuse. Now, the video is basically about fact, fiction, or fantasy. Fact. Christian people normally have beliefs that are their own. However, because of their belief, sorry, my neck hurts, so I've been waving it around like this, like Rex House. I don't have the sunglasses, though. Christians sometimes blindly follow leaders. I know this because I've seen it. There is a church, or not a church, where I live called LBT, Longview Baptist Temple. Longview Baptist Temple is not a religion, it is a cult. And the reason I say it's a cult is because they send children door to door to preach the word with basically no supervision. They send Jehovah's Witnesses out constantly to preach the gospel, their gospel. And if you don't follow their exact gospel to the T, you're going to burn in the depths of hell. Wait, where have I heard that before? Oh, every Christian religion ever. But here's the difference. Baptists and Catholics have different ways of getting to heaven. Similar, but different. Methodists have different ways. Now, here's something that I can explain about LBT and the reason I call them a cult and not a religion. Cults are people who use means of force and basically brainwashing to make people believe what they believe in. And that there is no absolute outside of themselves. And most times people who follow a cult don't actually have a God that they believe in. They say that they believe in a God, but they believe in a God, and I cannot talk, and I do apologize. They say that they do not believe in, or they say that they do believe in a God, or a higher being, or a supreme being in some way, shape, or form, but what they do is they make you believe that that is their belief in some occasions, but really they want you to follow what they believe. So whether they actually believe it or not is never called into question. You are following blindly someone who is basically steering you wrong. Yes, a lot of people have their own brains in their own head, but the thing is, can you use it? Can you people use it? You can believe whatever you choose to believe. But from one individual to another, for anyone watching this video who happens to be Christian, take a look at your moral values. See if what they are, what qualifies as normal. Now, grant you, they're going to be like, oh, well, it doesn't matter whether they're normal. I'm good with Christ. Do not say that. You can think it all you want to, but do not respond to me saying that, oh, well, I'm stupid. I have proven everything except for the name calling and the opinionated things in my video can more or less be proven. More or less. Most of it. Anyways, beside the point. Do not blindly follow things that you believe. The main reason I ended up doing this video was because of an individual named The Vigilant Christian, which I probably said his name earlier in this video, who basically said Star Wars is a cult. No, Star Wars was made by Illuminati cultists who were actually witches running all of Hollywood, trying to make people believe in or brainwash people, which is why I did the whole thing about subliminal messages earlier. Subliminal messaging isn't brainwashing. It is the concept of putting ideas in one's head in order to try to sway them to do something differently than they would normally do. Technically not brainwashing. Brainwashing, in its essence, is changing somebody's mind entirely into what you want them to think. Like forgetting a person, place, or thing ever existed, or erasing parts of people's mind until they hear a certain word, phrase, or see a certain picture or person's face, in which case at what point that the regressed memories will come back up and they will remember everything at that moment, which is the popular concept of sleeper cells for the old KGB. Now, I have a lot of people who would debate the fact that with me that subliminal messaging is brainwashing. Technically, putting an idea into somebody's head is as simple as holding an object in front of their face. If you're thirsty watching this video, during the entire time I've held up this Powerade bottle or another Powerade bottle, you're going to think, God, I'm thirsty. Unless you have a drink sitting right next to you, in which case you'll be like, not thirsty right now, but it's simple. But technically, then that's what I mean. Subliminal messaging, and that's how I know subliminal messaging is not brainwashing. Because putting an idea in somebody's head into someone's head is simple. All you have to do, it's basically product placement. That's all it is. Anyways. That is the majority of my video. Now, again, I'm not saying Christians are stupid, but Christians do have a tendency to blindly follow whatever their parents and or guardians and or religious leaders say. Do research. I'm not telling you to do research so you can become atheist. I'm not telling you to do research so you can fall under a different religion. I'm telling you to do research so you do not blindly follow with people like the vigilant Christian who believes that Hollywood is a witches' coven cult who run the Illuminati. I'm telling you to do research. Check your facts. Don't conspiracy theorize something that is obviously not there to theorize. I mean, that's like saying, I believe that this tablet was made to turn my brain into mush because it is one of them electronic gizmos. No. Tablets were made for connectivity. Tablets are a current wonder of technology. Now, they're old by standards, yes. And you think, oh, well, let's see. We have touchscreens where I can connect to Facebook, I can connect to Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or maybe I don't want to do any of those things. Maybe I just want to play games. Or maybe I want to send an email to my mother reminding her that it is somebody's birthday. Or get an email from my mom reminding me that it's somebody in my family's birthday. This is not made to turn your brain to mush. A lot of people, older especially, I say older, quite older, used to believe that TV turned your brain to mush. Now, some programs might. Some might. But watching TV does still stimulate your mind. Especially shows about mystery where you're constantly thinking. Because shows like NCIS or Castle or stuff like that, they make you think. You're like, okay, is this the bad guy? Is this the bad guy? How did he kill her? How did this happen? You're thinking. It's not turning your brain into mush, because technically your brain will only turn to mush if you did not think at all. If you were incapable of thought, your brain would technically turn to mush, because your mind, having not been used, has a function where if the cells are not functioning constantly, they deteriorate. Kind of like the brain is a muscle. Muscles deteriorate if you don't use them. That's how it works. Use your brains. Anyways, this is Guardian Dark Angel. Views on views. Peace.